What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Wednesday night's Late Night Agenda. It's definitely not Wednesday. It's definitely Wednesday. I can promise you that one. See, this is where you go with live stuff. Content straight in, messed up. This is the joy of it. Look, ladies and gents, how are you? I hope you're well. Loads for us to get through as always. I've been reading the chat before the stream started today. I see there's some mixed feelings about what's going on in the Liverpool transfer world. I'll do my best to take you through it with all the information that I've managed to dig up today and other few bits and pieces along the way as well. Thank you very much for being with us. As always, I appreciate your support here on the channel. I want to start off by talking about Wijnaldum, by the way, and we'll talk about that situation with Barcelona. And then I want to get into the whole business of, obviously, transfers. I'm going to talk about the fact, what it's like to be a channel in this crazy time and with the information that comes our way, just to give you guys a bit of a perspective about why we do and say certain things, because I know a lot of people throw a lot of stuff around. Look, we'll get through it all, don't worry about it. Keep your questions coming, by the way. Apologies for being a couple of minutes late. Had a few green screen issues which still aren't fully resolved, but I'll do my best to get through it. Look, I hope you're all well. Let's start off with Gini, and there's loads of stuff coming out about Gini Wijnaldum today, but it's mixed. It depends where you look to. If you look to perhaps the Barcelona friendly media, you'll see stuff like deal very close, £15 million being mentioned, 3-year contracts, Gini turning down contract offers from Liverpool, all that type of stuff. And then you come over to the Liverpool side of things, and you look at maybe the British-based journalists, and they seem to be a bit more bullish in that Liverpool don't want to lose Gini Wijnaldum, but if we do have to lose him, if he does want to force his way out, then there's a certain figure that Liverpool will look for, and that seems to be a little bit closer to the £20-25 million mark. Either way, there is some truth to this whole situation. There is a bit of an impasse right now with regards to Gini and Liverpool, and it's up to you what you guys believe. Do you want to believe maybe the Barcelona spin on this with the Koeman link for him being his manager of Holland, that maybe it makes sense that he goes there? Do you let him run down his contract and leave for free? These are all the things that all of us Liverpool fans have been trying to get through over the last few days and trying to figure out. And I want to open up a debate tonight and talk about it and see what you guys feel about the Gini situation. It looks, from my humble point of view, like Gini Wijnaldum is probably on his way out the Anfield exit, which will leave a lot of us with a heavy heart, because there's not one Liverpool fan I know out there that has a negative word to say about Gini Wijnaldum. We all absolutely love the guy, and none of us ideally want him to leave. When the idea of Thiago was floated around, it was exciting to all of us. We wanted to bring in Thiago, but then when it started to become apparent that maybe it's going to be Thiago with Gini on the way out, it kind of left a lot of us with mixed feelings, because we understand, well, at least I understand where the club are coming from and Klopp's coming from with regards to not having enough space in the squad to just throw in another midfielder there. The rumours coming out today are that Harry Wilson, as an example, just to give you a kind of idea around the squad size, Harry Wilson won't be loaned out again this year. If somebody wants to come in and buy Wilson, they're going to have to put down around £20 million on the table, or else Jurgen Klopp's plans, according to the Echo at least, seem to be that he's going to stay at the club and get an opportunity to prove himself throughout the season. It's kind of fair on Wilson as well, because 3 loans in 3 seasons must be very tough for the young man. So if this season he needs to kind of lay down roots, I get where he's coming from. I get where the club are coming from. And it's always important in these talks to understand that this is somebody's life that we're talking about here. Harry Wilson has a family. He'll want to set down roots. I don't know if he has a girlfriend or not. I don't keep up with his personal life, but it's not just a commodity that we can say loan him out, do this, do that. He's had enough of it. Ryan Kent was in a similar position before he got that permanent move to Rangers. So I don't think personally Wilson will make it at Liverpool, but I understand the way the club are trying to just say, look, a line has to be drawn in the sand here. If you want them, buy him. If you don't, we're going to hang on to him until a suitable offer comes in. And I think that's probably fair enough. Then you weigh that up, I suppose, against the sell-to-buy nature of this window for Liverpool. We've seen United go out and sign Van de Beek. We've seen other clubs go out and strengthen. I would, if I was betting man, and I am a betting man, I would probably say that Gini Wijnaldum does look to be edging out the Anfield door, and that, as I said the other day, could have been the second part of this 3-piece jigsaw that's seen Ivan Rakitic go from Barcelona to Sevilla, then Gini Wijnaldum go from Liverpool to Barcelona, and then finally, you guys know what the last piece of that jigsaw would be. It would, of course, be Thiago coming to the Reds. And look, I'll go on to talk about Thiago a little bit later on in the stream, along with Patson Daka, along with Ismaila Sarr, because I know a lot of you guys were wondering why he wasn't in the title, or at least wasn't in the thumbnail tonight. Don't worry, we will be talking about it. But as always, folks, this is your show, so let me know what you want to talk about. If you have any comments, please put them in. I'll do my best to get to them. Let's grab a couple before we get stuck in and see how we're all feeling about the Gini Wijnaldum situation. Elliot Santos said Thiago's an infinitely better player than Gini. There are hundreds of Ginis around. Is he a better player? I suppose that's open to opinion, but is he a different player? That's what's important to me in this situation. That Thiago would bring us something different. He would refresh the squad. He's as experienced, if not more experienced, than Gini Wijnaldum. But to say that there are dozens of Gini Wijnaldums out there, I think is a little bit disingenuous towards Gini. Gini is somebody who's proved himself, coming from Newcastle to Liverpool, then going and kind of reinventing that Dutch national team along with the great young players in the Netherlands, and obviously Virgil van Dijk as well. I think it's a bit unfair to Gini. Gini is a very capable midfielder who Jurgen Klopp, I think, has picked more than any other midfielder last season, if my memory serves me correct. So you're basically saying that Klopp doesn't know what he's talking about if you think that Gini's just a bang average midfielder. I think it's very unfair, to be honest. I mean, if a player leaves the club, fair enough, but Gini Wijnaldum should leave the club, and will, if he does leave the club, leave with his head held very high and a massive thank you and a pat on the back from all Liverpool fans around the world, because he's been part of this remarkable success. So I would disagree with you on that one, mate, but that's okay. You know, we all see things a little bit differently. Thiago's the missing piece to our puzzle, said Fernando Curran. Could be, mate, but there's a few more pieces. I wouldn't say he's the last piece, but he's certainly a piece. I would agree with you on that one. Do you think Gini is better than Thiago? It's horses for courses. I don't think they're the exact same type of player. Thiago's a bit more of a specialist, and that's maybe what we need right now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd much rather add Thiago and maybe move out a different midfielder. I don't know which one, but it's the contract situation. That's what's brought this to the fore right now. Barcelona need to appease their fan base. They need to act like they're doing something. The whole Messi circus can't distract Barcelona from what's going to go on in the transfer window. Koeman has a job to do, and he knows in Gini Wijnaldum that he's got a trusted player there that if he brings in will give everything and leave nothing on the pitch. And that's why we love him so much as well. So Ian Barron, how are you, buddy? Lovely to see you back in as well. Look, I'm going to move on now to transfer talk, and I'm going to talk about Patson Daka. But can I be really honest with you guys? Because I did say on Twitter that this is going to be a no holding back from Craig stream, and I'm going to be bluntly honest with you guys. I'm not really sure what to say about Patson Daka, because I'm very mindful of not getting people's hopes up and ending up frustrated. This is a particularly tricky time for football channels because we get accused of all kinds of shit during the transfer windows. It is both the best and the worst time to be a football fan channel. During the season, it's straightforward. We talk about games, we talk about who's injured, we do previews and all that stuff. But during the summer, everybody gets a bit worked up, us included. And I want to give you guys a flavour of what it's like to be a channel during this time. We get dozens and dozens of emails and messages claiming to know this, that and the other. And like most channels, we don't share 99% of the stuff that comes our way because we can't stand over it. I don't talk about so much stuff I'd love to bring and discuss on this channel. We get accused, as do a lot of channels, about being clickbait as well. Well, let me just give you a flavour of how YouTube works. Our job is to attract people to our channel. And if people click on a thumbnail or a link and they come to our channel, it's our job then to hold them there. So people who accuse us of clickbait, let me just answer by saying this. We stand over pretty much everything that we say. We give sources, we give articles, we never claim to have real inside information, and anything that we put in a thumbnail or a title, you need to look into the fine details. Is there a question mark there? Are we maybe raising a discussion or a topic for discussion? We don't claim to be the one and all non-stop absolutely infinitive answers for all things LFC, but we're also not clickbait. Because let me answer it by saying this. If we were clickbait, people wouldn't stay. People wouldn't come back night after night. Our community wouldn't grow and people wouldn't believe what we say. This whole YouTube stuff only works if you guys believe us. And if there's a bond created between us and you, almost like a virtual friendship if you want to look at it that way. So if we were clickbait, it would work for 2 months of the year, and then the rest of the year the channel would go down the shitter. So people who accuse us of being clickbait, you're wrong. I'm sorry. And I feel for all channels during this window because it's difficult. It's really difficult. And the second thing is, and this comes from a lot of opposition fans. We've had 3 of these in the past 24 hours. People claiming that any Liverpool channel worth their salt will take any information from that rag of a newspaper as a source to run with your story. Every time I talk about it, I'll say to you, it comes from the Metro, comes from the Mirror. James Pearce said this, Paul Joyce said this. So to accuse us of that is just scumbaggery of the highest order. And again, we know it's nonsense, you know it's nonsense, so just stop with this shit because it's not worth it. Now, let's move into Patson Daka, because as I said, I'm a little bit unsure what to say to you, because I've got lots of stuff that I could say to you, but then again, if stuff changes, I'm going to be stuck here looking like a dickhead, and everyone's going to be saying, but you said this, Craig, and you said that, Craig, so what do? Do I play it safe? Do I give you guys the public information, or do I give you the little tidbits that we have been told? I've always said to you, and I've always been honest, I have no inside sources at Liverpool Football Club. What I do have are friends around Europe. In this industry, you get to know people. You get to be introduced to journalists. You get to be introduced to television presenters. You get to be introduced to agents, albeit usually for me, I'm a bit lower down the ladder. Agents are a bit on a lower ring. So we do get some information. We do have some contacts. I just don't have any in the club. And I've always said that, and I've never claimed to. So I'm going to give you guys I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to give you guys what I've been told that I believe to be true. If you want to take it as gospel, or you want to call me an arsehole, that is up to you, but I want to be honest with you. I've always tried to be honest with you from day one. It's the one thing I've rammed home on this channel. Honesty, openness, and communication between all of us as a community. If that doesn't work, what's the point of it? Do you know what I mean? So look, I'm going to give you what I have to say. Take it as you want. Don't take it to heart, said John West. Oh no, I don't. That's the thing. I don't take it to heart. But it reflects badly on all of us. That's the way I'm talking. Because when I talk about the channel, I think about the channel as 43,700 people, not Craig and Connor. I think about us as a community and wanting to grow that community. And I want to be protective of what we've grown together. That's why I say this stuff. Anyway, let's get to Daka, because that's why we're all here. Right, over the past 24 hours, there has been a few things that I've managed to find out about Patson Daka. And as I said to you guys, I did put the feelers out yesterday. I got some people who just completely blanked me. I got some people who said they're unaware of interest. But then I did get a few other people who've said to me, yes, there is interest in Daka. And I'm going to tell you now what I found out. So, right. Liverpool are 100% looking at the player. That's unquestionable. And anyone that disagrees with me on that, I'm sorry. I know I'm right on it. Liverpool are monitoring and looking at him, as are a load of clubs around Europe. Arsenal being another one. He's one of 2 attacking targets that I've managed to definitely find out that Liverpool are monitoring or looking at. And they're public knowledge. They're Daka and they are Ismaila Sarr from Watford. Which one is a preference? I can't give you an answer to that. I do not know. I don't know if we're more likely to go for Sarr, or I don't know if we're more likely to go for Daka. What I have managed to find out about Daka as well is when he signed his last contract with Salzburg, there was a €75 million release clause put into that contract. That doesn't mean that Salzburg are going to hold any buying club to that €75 million, but I guess they're just protecting their assets because of what happened maybe. Well, actually, he signed this before the Takumi Minamino thing, but maybe they're just starting to know that they are a good feeder club now. They are producing great talent. And obviously he's a Zambian international. People are worried about the AFCON as well if we go out there and go after Daka. But I can tell you this for certain. Liverpool are interested in the player, and Liverpool are certainly looking at the player. I've seen figures, and again, this isn't from people that I've reached out to. This is just me reading articles. I've seen figures ranging from about 20 to 25 million pound for Daka, which I've got to be honest, seems quite cheap. If you're looking at Watford asking around 40 million for Sarr, yes, he's a player that has more Premier League experience, but he's a player that has 1 year of Premier League experience. So if I was to have a preference on this one, from the little I've seen of Daka, and I've probably not seen a whole heap of Sarr either, I'd edge towards paying the £25 million and going and getting Daka from Salzburg, because the style of football that Jesse Marsch and Salzburg play is not a million miles away from the pressing game and the high intensity game that Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool play, which again has been, you know, public knowledge in the media. You guys seen it. We played Salzburg on a few occasions as well. They're a difficult team to come up against, and they've got some really good talent, some good young talent there coming through as well. Which one is more likely? I don't know. The talk around the Daka situation is that there is... How do I phrase this now? It could be the long game. with Daka. I mean, it might not be a this summer thing, which doesn't really feed into what we need, because we need a forward this summer. A lot of clubs will maybe give him one more season, so it could be a late decision by Liverpool if they're going to pull the trigger and put in an offer for the kid, or if they look at Sarr. I mean, I'd love to know what you guys think. Which one would you prefer if you've been monitoring both situations? But again, I'm just going to stand over the fact that I 100% know that Liverpool are looking at Daka. That's all I can say to you with regards to him. Whatever else happens, we'll go from there. Love your t-shirt, Craig. Thank you, mate. Straight from Adidas. He's for sale for £20 million. Liverpool will buy him, said Kev Mack. Again, mate, that's kind of the figure that I've seen mentioned, but all I can say for certain is that there is a €75 million buyout clause that was put into his last contract with Salzburg. That's all I know for absolute certain. We should be in for both Sel Origi and Shaqiri. Yeah, look, we're not going to go for both. That's again the blunt answer with that. We're not going to go out there and sign both players this summer. Will we sign one of them? Potentially, yes. We do need to add a forward, even if we are keeping Wilson at the club. I know he plays out in a wide position, but I still don't think he's good enough, and I'm still not comfortable going into this season with Divock Origi, Takumi Minamino and Harry Wilson, maybe along with Shaqiri as backup. It's just not good enough. I'm looking around me now and I'm starting to not get impatient, because I understand that this is a difficult window for the club and we are trying to leave it as late as we can to see what the club's finances are like. But I want to just read out something to you guys. A little quote from Daka, which I'm sure you've all, or a lot of you guys will have heard, but this is what he was speaking about Liverpool about before. He said, "When I was a kid, in my family, we had a kind of competition that everybody has to support a famous football team. I chose Liverpool. With my first step on the grass of Anfield, a dream will come true. I've seen so many matches and heard so many stories." Now, that was obviously before he played against the club. And you can see he loves Liverpool. Liverpool are a club that attracts footballers from all around the world. People want to come and play, particularly under Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. That doesn't mean that, that means anything to Liverpool, that he's spoken about us before. We've heard all this from Timo Werner. And I understand everybody's frustration. I understand that. I feel the same frustration that you do. But some people are just unrealistic. Like, I was reading the chat before this stream and I'd seen everything from Williams is crap and he can't defend to Raheem Brewster should never take a penalty again and stuff like that. It's very unfair, and I would question anybody's knowledge of the game or loyalty to the club if they start to spout that type of shite about a player like Williams, who's only a young fella, who's only after signing a new deal, who's just gaining experience and has competition to go up against one of the best right backs in world football right now, by the way, who's also still learning his trade. So I don't know, I don't understand some of the negativity, but I do 100% understand people's frustrations. Let's move on to Sarr now. I've nothing really brand new I can tell you about Sarr other than he's being considered. One thing that Liverpool fans keep saying to me over and over again, and I'm with you on this one, is the worry about if we do go for Daka or we go for Sarr, that we do have to worry about the AFCON in the future, because obviously we have Sadio Mane, we have Mohamed Salah. I'm not aware of Guinea's situation. I know they're obviously an African country, but I'm not aware if they've qualified for the AFCON or not. So technically we could also have Naby Keita there, and if we sign Sarr Daka, that could be another one that we lose. What I will say is Klopp's not an idiot. The club will be aware of this and they will take that into account when they're looking at players that they're going to sign. Like, they'll know that we'll be without these players for potentially 4 to 6 weeks or something when the AFCON is on. So, the club are aware of that, and that will be part of the decision making, and that could be one of the reasons why maybe the club are just leaving it till the last second or looking around to see if any other options become available. As much as we talk about Liverpool not having a lot of money in the transfer market right now, that's a better position than some other clubs around Europe who are really struggling right now because of the impact of the coronavirus, and Barcelona being one of those clubs. So Liverpool are going to look to try and capitalise on a lot of this fear and a lot of this uncertainty as well with their transfer business. And again, it just involves us having patience. The question here is, do we trust Jurgen Klopp and the club, or are we going to throw our toys out with the pram? And a lot of us seem to be bang smack right in the middle. We know that if Klopp's given the money, that he will get the right players. His record speaks for itself on that one. But we have frustrations about the overcautious nature that we seem to be taking into this transfer window. We'd all love to be sitting here right now talking about a new signing. I mean, United today announced Van de Beek. That's great for their fans to talk about. They're still banging on about Sancho and they're looking forward. And I get it. I get why a lot of Liverpool fans are feeling pretty annoyed right now, because I'm the same as you guys. I feel exactly as you feel. It's frustrating, but it's going to take patience, and we will get there. We are the Premier League champions. We have set the standards. I know there's talk about Messi to Manchester City. I quite frankly don't understand how they can get away with that with regards to finances, how in any way they can think that that adds up and that will be able to be played out in FFP, but we all know FFP is a joke anyway, so it seems like Abu Dhabi FC can go out there and sign whoever the hell they want. If they need to pay 200 million quid to get Messi on top of his million quid a week wages, then, do you know what I mean? What can we do other than sit back and go, that's pretty much all we can do. Do you know what I mean? And go out there and do what Liverpool can do and, you know, try and defend our title. I've got more stuff to get through. I'm going to talk about Christopher Ajar as well. I reached out to a couple of Celtic supporting friends for some information on him, and I got a bit of a mixed reaction. I'll go through that in a couple of minutes as well. If we don't get Thiago, we should throw our toys out of the pram, said Claire. Yeah, look, we're sick of sagas. If we're being honest with it, we've had enough of it. We've had the Timo Werner saga. And look, as a YouTube channel, I am as guilty as anybody else about being part of these sagas, and I take that. We had the Werner saga, we had the Nabil Fekir saga, we've had other sagas as well, and this just feels like it could be another one in 3 in a row of transfer sagas that don't work out. But again, it's not over. Thiago wants us, we want Thiago. Fabrizio Romano tweeted earlier on to say that, you know, there's still hope, or there's still talks to be had between Bayern Munich and Liverpool over Thiago. A lot of people out there suggesting that his wages could be a problem. No, that will all been agreed between the club and his agents already. The real sticking point here is, do Liverpool try and lowball Bayern Munich, or do they sell Wijnaldum and then Bayern Munich know that we've got a few bob in our pocket, and then they know how much they can ask for Thiago? It's a game of brinksmanship. It's a game of poker between Michael Edwards, Bayern Munich and Liverpool and Barcelona as well for the Gini situation. This Thiago saga has gone on too long. I get you, but what can I say to you? I can come on here and tell you lies, but that's not how I work. We can't afford Thiago. Now, you see, that's just flatly not true. We can afford Thiago. Liverpool Football Club aren't broke. Don't get that in your head. We're not broke at all. Liverpool Football Club aren't carrying debt or anything like that. We're just being cautious in a very uncertain time. There is talk the fans could be getting back inside the stadiums, albeit maybe in small numbers from October onwards. If that becomes clearer to the club, then maybe they know what to do. So there's talk right now that clubs are maybe exploring the possibilities of being able to open up corporate boxes and stuff like that, because, you know, you would be able to separate people, and that might be some way of at least bringing in some commercial revenue to the clubs. Not great for us normal fans who want to be sitting in the cop or sitting in the main stand or whatever, but still it gives the club a clearer picture of what they might be able to do with regards to bringing in finances. So Christopher Ajar, a couple of reports in the UK claimed that Klopp's interested in bringing in Celtic's Christopher Ajar, or Ajar, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, as a replacement for Dejan Lovren. Let's not forget, we do probably need a replacement for Dejan Lovren. We are short in that area. And I've got an angle that I want to pitch to you guys on this and see how you feel about it. So this one surprised me a little bit, the links to Ajar. Not the fact that it sprung up, because you guys have been saying this name to me for a few days now and I just hadn't read much about it, so didn't really have much to talk about. But I did do a little bit of looking into the guy, and he's 22 years of age. My expectation was that we brought in a more experienced centre-back, somebody who would allow Billy Kmetio and somebody who would allow Sepp van den Berg and that to develop. But there's also another way of thinking here, and this is what I was saying to you a moment ago I want to pitch to you. Maybe going for somebody like this guy who's 22 years of age. He's a big fella, by the way, 6'6", Norwegian international. Maybe Liverpool are looking to bring him in, and then in a year or two, if Sepp van den Berg or Billy Kmetio is ready, move John Matip on. I never clicked with that in my head, and I started to wonder today, could this be Klopp's plan moving forward? Because with the greatest of intentions, we do know that Joe Matip, as much as we all like him, and I really do like him and rate him as a defender, he can pick up an injury every now and again, as can Joe Gomez. So if we bring in another young player, and that young player develops well over the next season or two, as does our own young players, then maybe Klopp will look to move on Joe Matip or somebody like that in a year or two. And maybe I approach my thought process on this centre-back situation a little bit wrong. And I'd love to know what you guys think about that. Would you like to see the club go out there, maybe add an experienced head? Are you excited about the links to somebody like Christopher Ajar, who's, 22 years of age? As I said, I did reach out to a couple of Celtic supporting mates who are over there quite a lot, who've watched quite a bit of this kid. And I said it's a mixed bag at times. He has started to become more consistent lately, but I just immediately said to my mate, don't tell me this is another Dejan Lovren-esque type of player. But he said no, he does seem to be becoming a little bit more stable as time goes by. And he is only 22 years of age as well. That's important to remember. Ben White or Ajer, said Ellie. Well, Ben White signed a new contract with Brighton yesterday. I'm sure you guys seen that. I think it's a new 4-year deal at the club. That doesn't necessarily mean that he'll never be going anywhere, but it does kind of strengthen Brighton's hand with regards to any negotiations or anything like that about the player. And Potter has been very open in saying that he wants Ben White to be part of his defence moving forward. But we do still have Agent Lallana in the camp there to work on this a little bit down the line. What have we got? We should get Upamecano, said the chosen one. Well, we seen Christian Falk, I believe it was today, put to bed the rumour that Manchester United were in for Upamecano. Apparently that is not the case. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool are in for him, but I do understand why people are looking towards the RB Leipzig centre-back. He's a very, very talented young centre-back. But again, I'd love to be on here saying I've seen links to the guy, but I haven't. If you have, great, let me know about it. But I do understand where you're coming from, because he is the calibre of centre-back I'd love us to be looking at as well. What have we got? Would you consider next season a failure or success if we didn't win the Premier League or the Champions League, but let's say we won both the FA Cup and the League Cup? I suppose individually we'll all view success and failure differently. I don't think we've any divine right to go out there and win the Premier League or the Champions League. They're two very difficult competitions to win, and adding any silverware is always better than adding no silverware. I suppose it would go down to how the title race went and how deep we went into the Champions League. If we lost the title by a couple of points, maybe it would be disappointing, but we're still there fighting. What I don't want to happen is us to go into the league campaign and be stale, and all of us look at each other and say, we knew this was going to happen. The signs were there from the end of last season. The signs were there in pre-season. We knew what we needed. We knew what other clubs were doing. And then we're all sitting there scratching our heads going, big opportunity to capitalise and win the Premier League, missed. But again, we can circle back to our manager. We all have faith in Jurgen Klopp. He is not an idiot. Everything that we think about this team, he thinks about this team, only he knows more information than we do, and he knows exactly what he needs and doesn't need. The real problem comes if it's a case that he's not getting the support that we all want him to get from the board. If that's the case, then we've got a problem. But I don't believe that to be the case, or at least I haven't read anything to say that that is the case outside of the Werner transfer, which Jurgen Klopp did want. We had Jan Agafjortov on the channel. You guys seen the interview where he said in no uncertain terms that after talking to Christian Falk and a few other journalists, he was told that Jurgen Klopp told the board that he wanted Werner, but that he was told that the money just wasn't there at that moment in time to go out and get him with regards to the 50 million quid transfer fee and the wages that the player was after. That was a kick in the nuts. I've said this to you before. That rang alarm bells in my head when I heard that, and I said as such to Jan Agafjortov in that conversation. It's frustrating, and it seems like it's been frustrating in transfer windows for Liverpool fans for a while. But what I keep trying to remind everybody is we've been alright on the pitch, you know. We've been alright in what we've won over the past couple of seasons. And a lot of clubs like Chelsea and Manchester United are playing catch-up. The real worry will come depending on what Manchester City do in this window. I'm not overly concerned about Chelsea's business or about Manchester United's business, because whatever happens, they still have particularly in Chelsea's case, they still have a lot of players to come in and settle, a lot of uncertainties with regards to how much they'll suit the Premier League, how much they'll settle to life in London, how much they'll settle to the league. And what we have at this moment in time, albeit it isn't what you want to hear, is continuity. We have a group of players who know each other inside out. But then there's the other side of the argument, particularly about the front three, and this is the thing that annoys me the most of all of these situations, is that front three has no pressure on them. The front three has... It's difficult because the front three is probably the best front three in world football when they're on form. They're a front three that's going to be very difficult for anybody to come in and displace. But they're also a front three, in my opinion, as a fan, who sometimes look like they know that they've got nobody breathing down their throat and nobody tapping on their shoulder to say, you mess up, man, I'm here ready to take that shirt. Somebody like a Timo Werner would have given us that option. Ryan Brewster, in my opinion, will be that option, but maybe a year or two down the line. Divock Origi is the biggest mystery for me of this whole damn summer. I don't know. Where is Divock Origi? What's going on with Divock Origi? It's gone extremely quiet around Divock Origi and Shaqiri. I mean, Divock Origi was Mr. Invisible during the whole Salzburg friendlies, Stuttgart friendlies and Austria trip. We heard that he had a slight knock, but yeah, we also heard other stuff as well. That to me is the big mystery of this whole summer, and I think Divock Origi may hold the key to Liverpool's potential incomings in an attacking sense. Who's frustrated at this moment in time? Let me ask you that in the chat. If you're a Liverpool fan right now, are you frustrated? Do we have a right to be frustrated? Are we throwing our toys out of the pram and being big babies here? I mean, are we expecting a little bit too much? We have to run the club within our means, albeit we may look at Chelsea and see Roman Abramovich throwing millions around. We might look at Abu Dhabi FC and see Pep Guardiola getting 82 million already this summer for players. So let me just see how you're feeling. Yes, good. I'm glad I'm not on my own on this. Addison's no, that's good, man. I'd love to be in your shoes, I really would. I'm frustrated but slightly patient. That's another way of putting it. How can I donate to somebody else? Just mate, if you want to become... I don't like talking about this shit, but I have to mention it every now and again. There are super chats if you want to send us one of them. Super stickers are there as well. If you want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC, which is membership of the channel, you click on the blue join button or you have a look in the description and there's a link there to become a member. With membership, you get the Anfield Agenda logo beside your name. You get... what else do you get? You get access to the exclusive Anfield Agenda Discord group, which really is the heart of this channel. That is where we share our innermost thoughts. That is where we give information that we probably don't give out elsewhere, to be honest with you, because we know we can trust our members in that group. You also get the use of all the custom emojis that we designed for the channel that are there as well. But you guys are YouTube fans, you know what membership is. It is there if you want to become a member. Brilliant. If you don't, still great to have you here with us. Really appreciate your input and your support. Most importantly though, what has taken off for us over the past 2 or 3 days is the Anfield Agenda Flick Chat group. This is an absolutely amazing app and I'm having so much fun getting to know it. If you haven't joined our Flick group yet, please go and download the app. It's completely free. You can get it from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. There is also a link in the description as well. We nearly have 300 members in 2 days, 2 or 3 days in that Flick Chat group as well. We'd love to see you over there. It's really fun because on the Flick Chat app you can set up polls, you can join our prediction league, so ahead of every Liverpool game you're going to be asked 5 questions. If you get each one right, i.e. prediction, score, who'll score, that type of stuff, you'll go on our leaderboard, and I'm currently I think in joint 8th place after the Arsenal Community Shield game with 2 out of 5 questions right. It's so much fun. It gives us a chance to communicate with you guys while we're not live streaming as well. We're going to keep increasing our content on there as well. We've added a few more moderators. It's so much fun. Love to see you over there. It is free. Link in the description. You know what to do. Right, folks, move on. Lots of frustration. I hear you, I feel you, and I'm with you. That's all I can say. People who watch this YouTube channel, I like to think that we're a bit different. We're not... I'm connected to you guys. I feel what you feel, and I want us to be in this together. I've been saying that since day one, and I hope that people believe it. For a YouTube channel to succeed, particularly a live YouTube channel that does what we do, we need buy-in. We need people to believe us and believe that we're genuine human beings. Everything that we say, we say with the best interests of you guys at heart, because I can't ram this home enough, but I go to bed at night, I think about Anfield Agenda. I wake up in the morning, I think about Anfield Agenda. I think about how I'm going to present stuff to you guys. I think about how you'll react. I read through all the comments. I answer emails. I'm on Flick. We're on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. And I try my best to carry this channel forward in a good way and present us in a good way. But one thing that I want to say a thank you to you guys for, and this has come from companies that we've worked with. This has come from other YouTube channels. This has come from people who've just dropped in to say hello. The one resounding thing that keeps being told back to me and Connor is that how friendly our subscribers are. And I can't tell you how much that makes me smile, because that means that we're doing something right. That means that you guys are doing something right. And it means that in this world right now that's full of trolling and hatred and anger and bitterness, there are still places out there for people to come and have some fun. And thanks to you guys and your amazing support of this channel, you've created an environment that I think is second to none. That we're able to have people in who have mental health issues. We're able to have young kids in. We're able to have people in from all different walks of life and feel safe, feel comfortable, and feel like that they can talk about the Reds in a place with no judgment. And I love that. I love that so much. If we achieve nothing else from this channel, that's enough for me, ladies and gentlemen, other than the Ferrari that I want, of course. Joanne, thank you for the super sticker, mate, saying keep it up. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit the subscribe button. As you can see, that number is ticking along rather nicely. We are on the road towards 50k. We love your support to get there. Drop a like on the stream as well. Right, keep clicking on, Craig. Keep going on. Thiago, some more stuff. As I said, Fabrizio Romano, I said this earlier on, posted earlier to say Liverpool are still working to get Thiago. Bayern are now convinced they're going to receive a new bid from LFC soon. Now, before I move on to the rest of the tweet, there's one word in that sentence that really piqued my interest. I'm going to read it out to you again. Bayern are now convinced they're going to receive a new bid. So to receive a new bid suggests that a bid's already been placed. Am I right? Would you read that the same way I read that? A new bid suggests that there's a bid already gone in. Klopp pushing again for Thiago. Manchester United only had contact with his agent at the moment. Nothing advanced between clubs. What do you read into that? My reading, and I know I do accept that it could be a bit of broken English. I absolutely understand that. Fabrizio Romano, as great a journalist as he is, sometimes the odd word can get a little bit lost in translation. So I get that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. New bid, Ewan Davey says with question mark. Exactly, buddy, I'm with you. What else have we got? Yes, said CM. LFC made a fortune last season to the likes of John 5. I get it. I can't answer that. I don't know what to say to you. People are going to keep throwing that up about the prize money, the 175 million, all that stuff. I don't have those answers, folks. I don't have Liverpool's finances in front of me, nor would I know how to read Liverpool's financial balance sheet, so I can't give you those answers. Scotty said, we have placed a bid. Can we start a GoFundMe to get Thiago? I know you're only joking about that, but I've actually seen one. I've actually seen a fan put that up and do it. How long do you see Thiago lasting, said Benjamin? In what case, mate? I'm genuinely not sure how to read your question. If he comes in, it's rumoured to be a 4-year deal, if that's your question. I think another club is going to swoop in on the Thiago deal, said Media Centre Man. That is always the worry. That is the worry of you, me, and a lot of Liverpool fans around the world, mate. And as great as it is to hear that he wants Liverpool, it was equally as great to hear that Fekir wanted Liverpool. It was equally as great to hear that Werner wanted Liverpool. But ultimately, that isn't worth anything to us if the player doesn't arrive. Now, I want to ask you a question. What if we don't sign Thiago and Gini stays and sees out his contract and leaves for free next summer? How would everybody feel about that one? Because that's another distinct possibility. It's not the answer that we'd all like. And we probably lose Thiago because him having said his goodbyes to Bayern Munich this summer probably means that he's out the door somewhere this summer. And that would frustrate the shit out of me if that happened, I've got to be honest. But like, we have to be honest with ourselves as well. As Liverpool fans, we do have a new flavour of the month every so often. I can go back and look at streams where I've seen somebody like... what was your man? Moses Daddy Simon. Does anybody remember when we were looking at this kid? I think he was at a Belgian club at the time. And I received messages from people moaning, crying that we didn't get this guy. Completely distraught, thinking our season was over. But he hasn't really gone on to do that enough. No, has he? So any decision that Jurgen Klopp has made, there's very few that have come back to bite us on the backside. Now, to me, there has been one, and there could potentially be two, really. Pulisic, I will never understand why we did not sign. Never. As far as I'm concerned, that was an opportunity missed from FSG, particularly American owners, an American superstar, perfect marketing opportunity, great footballer, relationship with Klopp already. I'm baffled as to that. And the Werner one. They're the only two that I can really think of. The rest, Klopp and the board have pretty much gotten right, to be honest. That scenario scares me, said Claire, and that's the scenario that we're facing into, Claire, this summer. Genie has the opportunity to do whatever Genie wants to do right now, and again, he's honouring his contract as things stand, and when somebody signs a contract as fans and the manager, that's what we ask for. We ask for players to honour their contract. So like Emre Can, who was a thorough professional during his time at Liverpool, he left, went to Juventus, didn't work out, and he ended up at Dortmund. It is frustrating, and I feel your frustration, and I've spent days punching pillows and screaming out the back garden and doing everything that all Liverpool fans around the world do. What have we got? 96 Red Skillet, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He said Thiago plays quite deep in the field at Bayern, so if he comes to us, what do you think the midfield trio will look like? It's a brilliant question, and one that I've asked myself so many times, mate. It depends who we play against. So we've spoken about a journalist based out of Barcelona whose name escapes me at this moment in time, and he was saying that from what he's been led to believe, Klopp's thinking is to play Fabinho and Henderson with Thiago in front of them, being able to spray through passes to the front three and unlock defences. I was a little bit surprised because in my head the kind of dream scenario was Thiago, Keita and Henderson or Fabinho. That's the way I was thinking. Hendo or Fabinho obviously can play in the 6 role, and then that gives us Naby Keita and Thiago with a little bit more attacking intent, shall we say. But then the beauty is, if we do have to maybe shield the back four a little bit, we are playing somebody who we need to win a battle in midfield. Having Hendo and Fabinho there with Thiago ahead is a fantastic option. Maybe I'm just a little bit more attack-minded in what I want, and that's the way I was thinking. But again, I'd love to know what you think. And thank you for the super chat, mate. Really appreciate it. If I ever miss a super chat, by the way, please let me know, because YouTube Studio have changed. It used to be when you pop the chat out, which is what I do, you pop the chat out, it becomes bigger and it goes on the screen. That used to be white with black writing, but they've changed it for some reason to black with white writing, and it's really frustrating to me because I can't see the super chats when they're pinned to the top because it's all black, and it makes them very difficult to see. It used to be when a super chat came in, if you missed it, you'd see it up on the top of the screen, and I missed one the other day from Dara, and it's bugged me ever since. So if I do miss it, let me know. Don't be afraid to give me a holler. Thiago was played all over the middle of the park, said Elliot Santos. Chelsea winning Muppets Cup 2021. Look, let's not get this wrong. If Chelsea fans must be pretty feckin' excited right now, and it's frustrating the shit out of me. The real question, and I'm surprised nobody has asked this yet this summer, is if Messi goes to Manchester City, how the hell are any of us going to ever believe anything UEFA or FIFA say with regards to financial fair play? Because there's absolutely no way on earth that they can balance the books by making that happen. None. Not a chance. I don't give a shit how much they talk about shirt sales. I don't care how much they talk about season ticket sales. I don't care. It's just not financially viable, and questions will have to be asked if that happens. Sounds salty, I know. Maybe it is a little bit salty, but it's a question that needs a damn answer. Same with regards to Chelsea. Chelsea are very good though at selling young players, bringing players, loaning them out to which Dutch club is it? Vitesse Arnhem, I think they have a relationship with in Holland, where they send a lot of young players out to, and they're very good at then moving them on and creating some revenue. I know they had the Hazard, some of the Hazard money perhaps, Alvaro Morata and that stuff as well, but there's no denying that Abramovich has dug into his pockets there and, you know, thrown 100 million or 150 million down on the table for Lampard this summer. What's going on with FFP, Craig, mate, said Neil. It looks like it's non-existent, which is worrying, because you've got the likes of Abu Dhabi FC and out there in Qatar FC over in France who can basically do what they want because they seem to be state-backed and state-funded. I mean, think about that for a second. You're talking about two football clubs there who have the backing of oil-rich states behind them, almost bottomless pockets. How can owners of any club come in and try to run a club within their means, which is what Liverpool are doing, which is what the owners have always said they were going to do, by the way. So this shouldn't be a shock to any of us. This is the way we were told the club was going to be run, and this is the way that it has been run. What I find myself feeling like a bit of a hypocrite about is we've had success and we're still bitching. That's weird. It's weird, and I'm guilty of it as much as anybody. We've won the European Cup. We've got the Holy Grail, the Premier League. We've won the Super Cup and we've won the Club World Cup, which the club has never won before. And yet all of us, myself included, are still left feeling a little bit disappointed and a little bit frustrated That's a tough one to wrestle with in your conscience. That's a really tough one to do. Because we can see that we're in a great position. We can see that we're not too far away from being, I won't say perfect, but pretty damn near to it. We're an attacking player, maybe a centre-back away from really going out there and being able to, in my opinion, fully compete in all competitions this season. And we're up against one of the best sides assembled in Europe over the past 10 or 15 years, Manchester City, who've set record points totals, 100 points in the Premier League, 98 points then as well. And we've had to up our game to get to 97 points when we lost out. Imagine losing the damn league campaign on 97 points. That's ridiculous. But that is where we are in the world of football right now. That's what Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool are up against. And somehow, despite all of that, Kloppo and the club have managed to find a way of being successful. That's remarkable. And that's why I wrestle with my damn conscience over that every single day, because I don't want to be a spoiled brat. But we're also not idiots. We also know that the club have increased revenues, that the club have a fantastic deal with Nike that's only starting to kick in, that could be worth about 80 million a year if the projections are to be believed. Anybody else struggling with this shit, or is it just me? This is a little bit of a different stream, I'm well aware. People are tuning in maybe going, what's this all about? But I did warn people on social media that today was going to be different, that it was going to be a no-nonsense, Craig, and I was going to give you my genuine opinions on shit. So if you've any questions you want blunt answers for, put them in the chat, because tonight's the night, ladies and gentlemen, where you will get 100% bluntness from me. Got a question? Ask it. But God, I'm enjoying myself, don't get me wrong. I'm having fun tonight. I always have fun when I get to talk to you wonderful people. Man United's midfield are better than Liverpool's. That's a question that will be answered in the upcoming season, I'm sure, mate. I mean, I'm sure you're looking at Bruno Fernandes, Donny van de Beek and Paul Pogba and licking your lips. Fair enough. But a lot of people have said their midfields are better than Liverpool's and still come up short this season, because unfortunately the game isn't just played in midfield, mate. You need a defence, a goalkeeper, an attack and a midfield. And Liverpool as a unit, I think, are still a good chunk ahead of Manchester United, in my opinion. Craig, are you going to use crack on? Don't know, Yusuf, is the honest answer, mate. We're so far away from even thinking about crack on right now. It's nuts. How much would a good centre back cost? Said Sarah Marshall. I reckon we could go out there, Sarah, and get one for anything from 15 to 25 million quid. Somebody who would be good enough to come in. And I suppose the question, Sarah, is what do we want from a centre back? Do we want the centre-back to come in and partner Virgil van Dijk, or do we want the centre-back to come in as fourth-choice centre-back? That's the real question here. And if the answer is fourth-choice centre-back, then the 15-20 million pound bracket is probably the right bracket. And the likes of a link to that guy up in Celtic, Christophe Ajar, I think his name is, or Christopher Ajar. What's his name? Is it Christoph or Christopher? Christopher. That makes sense. So did Ben White. So yeah, the question is, what do we want? It looks like it's a fourth choice centre back, because people were asking about Koulibaly and stuff, and that's just pie in the sky nonsense that I told you guys from minute one was never going to happen. My answer, Sarah, would be around the 15 to 25 million mark. That's what I think. We could go out there and get a centre back to come in and do a good job, particularly with what's available in Europe. I paused there for a second. Sorry, I paused because my mind was thinking as well about the quota, the homegrown quota, which a lot of people have asked me about, which is something I have to be honest, I haven't really given much thought to. Particularly with regards to incomings and outgoings. I haven't started counting up the homegrown players yet, so I apologise that I haven't really addressed that issue. I just haven't had time to get into it. Thoughts on Genie to Barca, said Mike Hoban. Likely is what I would say. Disappointing obviously from a Liverpool perspective, because we all love Genie Wijnaldum. He's a great dude, he's a fantastic footballer, great to have around the club, never put a foot wrong, never did anything to show the club up in a bad light whatsoever. And if Genie Wijnaldum does leave, as I've said countless times, he will leave with a massive thank you from all of us, a pat on the back and a best wishes moving forward. But it would have to be a case, if Genie went, that we go and get Thiago, or this whole window will end up being... I think it'll just end up backfiring on the owners dramatically if it gets to a point where we lose Genie Wijnaldum and we're stuck scrambling. I mean, that's We got away with it once with Coutinho, but we got away with it that time because of Jurgen Klopp's brilliance and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain stepping up at the right time and taking some responsibility and then giving us a bit of dynamism in that midfield. I was fuming when Coutinho left, particularly because he wasn't replaced. I just couldn't believe what was going on. I couldn't believe the club didn't have a plan B in place, but Kloppo obviously did, and Kloppo once again was proven right. You don't know football, do you? I'll tell you what I do know, mate. I know how to spell, which your dumb ass clearly doesn't. I mean, the word no, you spelled N-O. And I promise you this, Mr. Invisible Newland Voider, I've forgotten more about football than you'll ever know about the fucking sport, mate. So don't come at me when your dumb ass can't spell the word no. It's K-N-O-W. For fuck's sake, mate. Go get yourself an education and then come on here and try and troll me. What have we got? Carlos, said somebody else. Diego Carlos, the links seem to have gone very cold. I wasn't overly impressed with Diego Carlos from what I've seen this season with Sevilla, and obviously in the Europa League mini knockout tournament, which Sevilla went and won. Bit of a mixed bag from Diego Carlos, I've got to say, and I wouldn't be comfortable with Liverpool going out there and spending 40 or 50 million pound on him. I just don't think he's good enough. FSG aren't good for the heart, said Uncle F, mate. You're spot on. And they're very good with their PR. I'll give them that one. They know how to capitalise on the right situations, and they know how to gauge the feelings of the fans and put out a little bit of good news just at the right time as well. You'll remember when we lost the Champions League final, the next thing that we heard was Firmino was coming in, and that lifted us all immediately. Right now, I think it's fair to say Liverpool fans feel like we need a lift, as weird as that sounds, after winning the Premier League campaign. And it is weird to say that, because we should be on here just talking about being the champions for the whole summer. That's all we should be talking about. But we're not. We're here nervous because we're looking over our shoulders and we're seeing clubs going out there spending money like drunken sailors in some cases, and we're still scratching our heads hearing the same things that we seem to hear all the time. Saying things that we've heard in the last few windows. Got to be cautious, got to get the right player, got to make sure it's value. All this stuff that we hear over and over again. I think there's probably a little bit too much over-reliance on the brilliance of Jurgen Klopp. And maybe that has backfired a little bit on Klopp. Or maybe the owners are thinking they can milk that a little bit. I've seen some other stories to suggest that because the owners, or because we won the league by 18 points, the owners think that there's a bit of a buffer there to play with. I don't think that they're that naive. They've owned sports teams for long enough now to know that that's not the case and things can change quickly. But it's going to be a matter of, we're going to have to weigh this up on October the 5th and then come to a conclusion, because between now and then it's just going to be a case of waiting to see what happens. What else we got? Imagine beating Manchester City to another league title with Messi in their ranks, said Stephen O'Connor. Yeah, it would be brilliant, mate. And it would be a massive two fingers up. The real fun part there will come though is when Messi comes to Manchester City, if he does, and they still don't win the Champions League. I think that's when we'll all have the biggest chuckle about that situation. Old Devlin said, Craig, will we not end up regretting not bringing in bigger players at the time we're most attractive? That is it, man. You've nailed it. Like, that's how we all feel. We're all saying exactly what you've just put into that chat in our own heads, mate. You want to capitalise from a position of strength, and you want to, strengthen those foundations. And look, who's to say we won't do it in this window? But, it's slowly, or softly, catchy monkey at this moment in time. If Genie leaves and Thiago doesn't come in, I'll be pissed, said Hannah Evans. Hope we win it this year and get Jadon Sancho next year. Yeah, look, that is the dream of a lot of us. But Mark, I know, and a lot of other United fans are still very convinced that they're going to get Jadon Sancho this summer. I've got to be honest, I don't pay any attention to much of the Manchester United transfer rumours, other than when they cross over with a potential Liverpool target like the Thiago situation. A lot can change before October the 5th, said CM. Yes, exactly. So that's the problem, isn't it? We're getting worked up about something that hasn't happened yet. But we also can't just sit here and wait for nothing to happen. That is the frustration. Well, it's also unusual for us as Liverpool fans, because we know that Jurgen Klopp likes to go out there and get his business done early usually, which hasn't been the case in this window, other than Costa Simicus, which is a fantastic piece of business. What have we got? Youngsters need to stay, likes of Brewster, Jones, Elliott, get minutes. Then we need to ship off the dead weight and recruit in the position for squad depth. Raheem Brewster, look, probably going to go out on loan. I've said to you guys before, links to Sheffield United, which makes sense. Klopp's been impressed with the way Wilder's conducted himself and his team have played. Who else have you said there in your list of players, mate? Elliott. There's no pressure on the Elliott situation. He's only 17 years of age. The club know Elliott's here for the long haul, and this isn't going to be Elliott's season. He probably gets some minutes, but I'm saying that there's no expectations that this has to be his breakthrough year. It's kind of, let's see what happens. If he does break through, it's a bonus, but we know we've got a very good footballer on our hands here, and he's one that's for the next 10 years, not just for this season. Sorry, I'm trying to find out where your comment was and remember who else. Elliott. Again, spoke about him. Curtis Jones, he will be in and around the first team this year and will get minutes and will challenge and will knock on the manager's door and will do everything that we had hoped and wanted from Curtis Jones, because the dude's a baller and there's no doubt about it. So have no worries on the Curtis Jones front. He's going to get minutes. What are we feeling on Wilson, by the way? I touched on this at the start of the stream. If you missed the kind of feelers coming out of the football club seems to be that there's no loan available for Wilson. He and the club have kind of had enough of this situation where he gets a loan. The dude needs to put down roots. The dude needs to settle and look at his career. So Liverpool kind of said either pay up around 20 million quid or he stays with us. So that's where we are with him. Mane won't leave for Barca if Gini goes. Mane ain't going to Barcelona. What really made me laugh was the £90 million. £90 million for Sadio Mane. Are you mad? There's not a chance. We need to keep Wilson, said Hendo CFN. Looks like that's the case, unless somebody comes in and pays what the club want. I don't think he's good enough, but I also feel bad about writing off a relatively young player. I mean, he's not young in the sense of Harvey Elliott, Raheem Brewster young, but he's still learning his trade, albeit I don't see anything that he's shown at Bournemouth or Derby before that to suggest that he's going to be able to step up his level in the next year or so to have a breakthrough at Liverpool Football Club and be able to challenge our front three. Nothing I've seen of him has shown me that. I get he can take a good set piece. I get he can score a few worldy goals, but I just don't see any consistency there that suggests to me that he's going to be able to make it long term at Liverpool. Again, always love to be proved wrong on these things because I want everyone to succeed at the club. I love the club. How much are Liverpool looking for Harry Wilson? About £20 million, I believe. That could be a little bit flexible either way, of course. Do I rate Jordan Ibe? No. No, it was did I rate him coming through? Yeah. I thought Jordan Ibe was going to be a new Raheem Sterling. I've seen Jordan Ibe playing the Aviva Stadium against Celtic for Liverpool, and I thought that he looked fantastic. I mean, for such a young lad, I thought there's no way this lad's not going to make it. And he moved on to Bournemouth, and look, his career just hasn't pushed on from there. So it has surprised me, I've got to be honest. Lenny S, thank you for the super chat, mate. Thank you for your late night streams. I've been listening for a while, doing my bachelor thesis, and got the results today. Thanks for your company. Well, one, mate, I hope that you got good results today, and I hope we're talking congratulations here, Lenny. And if we've played any small part in helping you get you through your thesis, buddy, brilliant. But most importantly, you're getting yourself an education and doing well in life, buddy, and that's brilliant. So congratulations to you and lots of love. Jadon said Hendo's so important, especially when things get a little bit shaky. Yes, he is. We've seen that in the Community Shield final. No Hendo, you've seen the impact. I'm sure you guys already know this, but just in case you missed it, Liverpool have confirmed their last pre-season friendly, and that'll take place on Saturday against Blackpool. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff, and the game is available on both LFC TV and LFC TV Go. So if you've got either of those, you'll be able to watch the game. A few players away on international duty, but of course there are still players there in and around Melwood, so I won't be able to do a watch along of the game on Saturday because I've got a family due that I need to be part of, and I can't push this one aside, unfortunately. But the game is on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. That is a mouthful. 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday against Blackpool. Any news about Sarr from Watford? Other than Param, what I said at the very start of the stream, two targets I know for a fact that Liverpool are looking at, and I don't use the words I know for a fact very often, but I am in this term, is Sarr and is Daka from Salzburg. There is a bit of a difference in valuations that I've seen. Watford apparently looking for about 35-40 million pound if they are to part ways with Sarr. And looking at Daka, he's a 75 million euro release clause in his contract. But apparently, and this isn't apparent, and this part I'm not saying I know for a fact, 20 million, 25 million seems to be around the figure that's been mentioned. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But the really interesting thing, I want to go back to this tweet from Fabrizio Romano about Thiago. The wording of his tweet that said that Bayern Munich are expecting a new bid from Liverpool very soon. That's been playing on my mind all day, and as I said to you earlier on, I don't know if that's new bid in the sense of we've already put in a bid and they've rejected it, or it's just something that's lost in translation. But it does suggest that something is forthcoming from Liverpool with regards to Thiago. What happened to Todd Cantwell? Really quiet, Tom. Really quiet on Todd Cantwell. Haven't seen anything. Obviously, Norwich player, somebody who I think is a very good footballer, very tidy, kind of Adam Lallana-esque. Plays off that left-hand side mostly for Norwich. They got relegated, and the word out of Norwich was that seems to be Todd Cantwell and Jamal Lewis were available, but only for specific prices. We weren't the only ones to go in and look at Jamal Lewis. I think, was it Leicester looked at Jamal Lewis when they were losing Ben Chilwell, and they got given a £20 million answer, which they said no to as well. But no, nothing on Todd Cantwell. Nothing at all that I've seen. Sorry, I missed a lot. Do you think Grujic should get a chance? I really like him. Yes and no. I think Marco Grujic will become a very good footballer and will play at a high level. I just don't know if he'll get the minutes at Liverpool, which is tough. Interest in him, obviously, from Hertha Berlin. They had an option to buy him for £18 million, which I don't think they were able to afford. They're still holding out hope that they can strike a deal with Liverpool for Grujic. It's a kind of similar situation that we spoke about earlier on with Wilson. He's somebody that probably deserves to go and have a definitive 3 or 4 years somewhere where he knows what his future is and he can really settle down. He was Jurgen Klopp's first signing at Liverpool Football Club, and he's never really had an opportunity to prove himself. And there's been interest from Italy as well. I think AC Milan were rumoured to be interested in Marco Grujic. There's definitely a player in there. I've no doubt about that. How high or how far he'll go in the game, I mean, that's down to himself, I suppose, and the opportunities that he gets. But again, it's one that if Liverpool get an offer that they accept, or they're willing to, if they get an offer around the valuation that they placed on him, which seems to be 20 million quid, then they'll do business. That's what's been put out there anyway. Is it a fact that Messi is going to City now? No, it's not a fact. Actually, Graham Hunter tweeted something interesting earlier on that maybe, he was responding to somebody who said there may be a few more twists and turns to go in the Messi situation. I haven't really been keeping track on it too much because it's not really related to Liverpool, and I've been up to my eyes trying to find out Liverpool information. But I won't get him for free. I will be absolutely astounded if they manage to find a way to get Lionel Messi out of that contract via the clause that they're talking about. But what Messi does have in his favour is he can go to Barcelona and say, look, I can leave next June for free. You're not going to get that from me one way or the other. So, accept a reasonable fee from somebody like Manchester City this summer or a walk next summer, and I will trigger that clause in his contract that Barcelona have apparently put in a few players' contracts over the years. I think somebody from the club said that it was in Iniesta's, Xavi and Puyol's contracts over the years, which, none of them ever triggered. Does Daka fit our style? Yes, I would say absolutely yes. Somebody who can play in a wide position. He has played on the left and on the right for Salzburg, but somebody with that high work rate and intensity. We've seen the trouble that he calls Virgil van Dijk the best centre-back in the world. I keep harping back to the second goal that he scored in that friendly, but I was very impressed with his reading of the attack and his timing of the run. He kind of paused and then went across the front of Virgil van Dijk. You've seen the goal. Very good piece of forward play, but I would say yes, mate, he would fit into our system. I would actually... Again, seems weird saying this because I'm by far not an expert on Daka, but what I've seen of the two of them, I'd probably prefer Daka over Sarr. I think there's a higher ceiling of potential there for Daka from Daka. What I've seen, anyway. What else we got? Will Keita and Minamino shine this season? Yes, and hopefully yes, is the answers there, mate. I mean, Naby Keita, you've seen you've seen how good he's been recently. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's 833 of you guys in the chat right now. I want to ask you a question. It is, well, we're going over an hour now. Again, as always, I'm very mindful that these things can drag on a little bit and that people will get pissed off. I'm happy to continue to go for a bit longer if you guys want me to. I ask you this most nights when I go long. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you want me to carry on, or if you want to finish up, by all means, I'm happy to do that as well. This is your channel. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button and give us a like on the stream. Right, keep going for a few minutes anyway. Daka oozes class at you and Davies. Indeed he does, mate. What happened to Ben Woodburn? Had a loan to Oxford United, and I think he's back at the club? Jesus, that's one I should know the answer to off the top of my head. Oh yes, sorry. Ben Woodburn reminded me of another Liverpool youngster, Nat Phillips. I have a little bit of information on Nat Phillips as well, by the way. James Pearce reported, as well as various others, that the Reds have decided to sell Nat Phillips this summer. Blackburn and Bristol City are among those who are interested in signing him, so there's a little bit of information. Claire's up and down. Claire, you're confusing me, mate. Look, I tell you what, Claire. Most people seem to want me to carry on for a bit. Happy to do that. If you need to head off, Claire, can completely understand. Right, let's keep going. Craig, you're such a legend. Thank you, mate. But I'm the same as everybody else. My shit stinks the same as everybody else's. A little bit of an update on the channel, by the way. I told you guys the other day that some cheeky little scamp nicked our content. So the watch-along we did of the Community Shield, some fella had the cheek to take the stream, the entire stream, the whole live feed of it, and upload it onto his own channel in real time. Got himself 15,000 views as well, but also now got himself a copyright strike because the developer, shout out to him, kindly let us know that this fella did that. And the story took a little bit of an extra plot twist today because the cheeky fucker had the balls to actually email and ask us to remove the copyright strike. You've basically taken 15,000 views away from us, some ad revenue that's much needed away from us, and you want me to drop the copyright strike? A little message if you're watching, kiss my ass. That's the answer, mate. You have more chance of Liverpool signing Koulibaly this summer than you have of me dropping that copyright strike. If you used a little bit of a stream, I wouldn't have bothered me arse, but you took the whole thing, you cheeky fecker. Right, what have we got? What is the channel's name? I'll go report him. It's done, Yusuf. It's done. Copyright strike's gone in. It's been approved. The stream's gone down. Heard Blackpool want Woodburn on loan. I mean, there could be something to that. I think we need a backup centre-back. Have you got any news or ideas on it? Yes, Oscar. We spoke earlier on. Links coming out to Celtic's 22-year-old Norwegian centre-back, Christopher Ajar, who I did reach out to a couple of Celtic supporting mates, that I got a bit of a mixed reaction. One, they wanted to know how much they'd get for him. That was one of the first questions, but mostly they said that he's somebody who is improving, has had a bit of a mixed bag, but is starting to gain some consistency. I suppose the real question is, as I said earlier on, do we want the fourth choice centre back or somebody to come in and challenge? Great banter, thank you, Mark, appreciate that. If Messi comes to Liverpool, we'll drop the strike, said Connor. There you go. If Messi becomes a Liverpool player, we'll drop the strike. Actually, on that, I said to you guys earlier on, somebody had a pop at us, and one of the things they said to us was, putting thumbnails up like Messi to Liverpool is clickbait. But if you watch that stream, we discussed, it said Messi to Liverpool question, and we discussed the financials and whether it was possible. So therein lies the detail. People need to come and watch the streams and not just look at the thumbnails and titles and have a little dig. Opinions on Red Men. I think they're a kiss arse club, said Tom Morgan. I have nothing but respect for anybody in this game, mate. I don't like to talk bad of anyone. I don't know the lads at Red Men TV, but I do know that they're doing a very good job and that they've grown very well, and I wish them nothing but the best. That's all I will say. I don't know Paul and Chris personally. I've never met them, but they represent our fan base very well, and I wish them nothing but the best. That's my opinion. Hot Mic update, said Nagabe. Yes, I did have a call with the founder of Hot Mic last night, and as things stand, we will be using Hot Mic for the season ahead, starting for the Leeds game on September the 12th. So there you go, that's the update on Hot Mic. Alec McDonald said, I'm a United fan, but I love the content. I hate City more. Wish you lads all the best. Thank you, mate, on both counts there, and I join you in the hatred of Abu Dhabi FC, so yeah, well in. Hardeep said, Craig, you're definitely someone I'd enjoy having a pint with. Excellent show. Thank you. Really appreciate that, mate. I know we do things a little bit differently on here, but I think that's kind of just our personality, really, as a channel. Unfortunately, if we did go for a pint together, I'd probably be having a pint of Diet Coke, mate, because I don't drink. But someday, I'm definitely looking forward to doing meetup someday with you guys over in England or in Ireland when all this madness comes to an end. We'll hopefully do a few little live shows as well, where we can come and shake your hand and say thank you for your support. Anfield rapper Redmen TV said Zizou. Well, I've got to be honest on this one. I would be a lot more familiar with the Anfield Rap's content because for very many years I had a tall player subscription, and I think the Anfield Rap are, I think they've just raised the bar for fan channels around the world. To be honest with you, I think they're amazing. I don't know anyone that has a top player subscription that doesn't think it's good value for money. I mean, I dropped my subscription, but that was only because I was so busy doing what I was doing that I didn't have time to listen. But nothing but class. Don't know the lads again. Hope to meet Neil Atkinson. I've met John Gibbons once, actually. I met him at one of the Boss Night shows. Didn't have a clue who I was and why would he. But yeah, nothing but respect, nothing but love for the lads at the Anfield Rap as well. Do you know what is makes me very proud? We get mentioned in sentences alongside the Anfield Rap and Redmen TV. For little old us, our little community, they're starting to get mentioned in the same breath as these behemoths, which is what they are with regards to fan channels. It's brilliant. It's very, for a lad from Ireland who's sitting here talking to people around the world about the club that I love, that I've been told many times I've no right to love because I wasn't born and bred in the city of Liverpool, mainly by opposition fans, by the way, not by Scousers or anything like that. Any Scousers I've ever met have been nothing but lovely. Craig needs to use more expletives. Yeah, I've cut that back a little bit because I'm trying to save the cursing for moments when it impacts more, and I'm also aware that we've got young people watching, and I'm trying to do parents a favour as well. Messi coming to City shows how Liverpool feeling right now and around the world. Messi coming to City, yeah, it's madness, man. One thing I'll say to you about this channel is, and I can't speak for other channels, but I can speak for us, is we have no interest in becoming buddies with Liverpool Football Club. We have no interest in being the go-to channel for interviews with Jurgen Klopp or interviews with the players, because there are channels far better placed than us to make that type of content. You've seen the Anfield Rap and Redmen interviews, and they're brilliant. They do them in a very good way. That's not what we're about. I'm about coming on here and giving my honest opinion, and that's all I will ever do. We'll never go behind a paywall, albeit I don't mock anybody who does. Everybody has their own business model and everybody has their own way of going about things. But we'll always come on here and just give you our honest views. That's all I can promise you. And I won't badmouth other channels because I know the work that goes into it. What have we got? We need to strengthen our squad. Yes, I agree with that. Loving the show. Keep up the good work, said Michael Manning. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate that. Look, ladies and gentlemen, please do hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying the stream. And again, I want to give a shout out to our Flick chat group. Let me just check the numbers right now, see if we've got to the 300 mark. We're very close to getting 300 members in the Flick chat. 209 or 79, excuse me, at the minute. 21 away from hitting 300. If one of our mods can stick the link into the Flick chat, that would be brilliant. It's absolutely free, by the way. Download the app, come across, take part in our polls, take part in our conversations. It's the most interactive football app I've seen yet, and I love it. It's available in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. As I said, no cost, no ads on it, nothing like that. And nobody be asking you for money or anything like that on there. So come across, have a pop, enjoy it. I love it. I hope you guys do as well. I said, what is this? I said your channel in the team Coppish debate, and they said how much they respect they have for you. Oh, look, Drifty and the lads at Coppish, I love them. Really nice. Callum and the gang over there, nothing but respect for them as well. And I haven't spoke to them in a while, and that's something that I need to change, because Drifty's a top fella, as are Callum and everybody else involved with Coppish. So great group of lads, proper Reds, and good fun as well. When are the fans allowed back in? Looking like it could be October to some extent, but again, they'll have to adhere to government guidelines and take their lead from the government. But there is talk that maybe some in October. Is Keanu Hoover a good heir to Van Dijk, or should he go into the market? There was talk that he'll go out on loan this summer. Celtic Mark were interested in Keanu Hoover at one point, and I think a loan for a year would be a good move for Keanu Hoover. Definitely somebody who the club have ambitions for moving forward. Whether that ends up at right back or centre back is interesting. It seems to be centre back is the thought process for his future, but probably a loan for him from what I've read. What else have we got? I think Fabinho is a better player than Hendo, but Hendo raises everyone else's performance. Yeah, I suppose the difference is Fabinho is a bit of a specialist, isn't he, in what he does, in that Fabinho is a 6. Yes, he can play at right back, and yes, he can drop back and play at centre back, but Fabinho is best at shielding a defence, whereas Jordan Henderson, to me, his best position is as a box-to-box midfielder. He does well on that right-hand side for us as well, works well with Trent, very capable of whipping a ball into the box. A very good all-rounder. So it's not really comparing apple to apples. I love Jordan Henderson. I think you see what you're missing when Hendo isn't there, and I always hope that is one of the first names on the team sheet. What have we got? Hendo's got his... I don't know what that means. Klopp should stick with Thiago, then get other players, said Evan Chapman. I think we will get Thiago, you know. I think that we will. If we don't, though, if we go through this window and fans don't get a couple of signings, I'm fucking worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about the reaction. Craig, who out of our front three would you eventually sell for your dream player? Salah. I know that's a quick answer, but again, that's my honest answer. Don't want to sell any of them this summer, but I've said to you guys before, I have a feeling we'll move on one of our front three next year. My guess would be Mohamed Salah. Not that I don't idolise the guy. I love him so much. But I just always felt like there's another chapter in the Mohamed Salah career story. Or the Mohamed Salah brand, if you want to. And he's such a lovely fella. How could you not like him? I mean, he's always got a smile on his face. And he's infectious. I love him. But yeah, he's the one that I would guess. Particularly if it was to get my dream player, I think he's the one we could probably get the most money for as well. When do you think we should start selling our front three? I'd say maybe one next summer to freshen up with maybe a younger hotshot, if you want to say, maybe like a Jadon Sancho-esque style player. That is the tough question, isn't it? Like, when are these guys at their peak, and when will Jurgen Klopp spot that and know when an inevitable decline is potentially there? It's something that Alex Ferguson was very good at. And I think Jurgen Klopp has that within him, you know. I think Jurgen Klopp, as much as he comes across as a nice guy, I think he can be ruthless when he needs to be. You don't get to where he's got to without having to be able to make those tough calls. Is Genie definitely leaving? At this moment in time, the answer to that is no. But is he probably leaving? Yes. That's what I would say. But he's not definitely leaving. There's two different sides to this conversation about Genie to Barcelona. The side from the Spanish outlets seem to suggest it's pretty much a done deal. Barca think they're going to get him for about 15 million quid. And then the English side, or the British press, seem to be Liverpool kind of being a bit bullish on the situation, and they don't want Genie to go, but they'll get the money they want if he is to go. So look, let's wait and see how it plays out. We all think, and we've all thought for a long time, that it was going to be, as I've said, this little triangle. Rakitic goes to Sevilla, Genie Wijnaldum goes to Barcelona, and Thiago goes from Bayern Munich to Liverpool. That's what we all think is going to happen. If that plays out, we'll have to wait and see. Who is your dream player? Probably Kylian Mbappe, if I'm being honest. Somebody who I've always had a lot of respect for as well, who isn't ever going to come and is too injury prone, is Marco Verratti. He's one of the smoothest midfielders that I've seen in many years. I love watching Marco Verratti play football. But I'd have to say Mbappe is my dream player for Liverpool. I'd love to have that lad in a Liverpool shirt. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long one tonight, and it's been so much fun. Thank you for your love and support as always. I will be back tomorrow night, so don't worry about that. I'll be seeing you guys at 8:30. We have a couple of interviews coming up in the next week. I've been talking, and I'm going to have Jim Boardman on. I did say I was going to not give out the name until I knew that he was going to be available. I was speaking to Jim Boardman on Twitter, and we DM'd each other, and I'm going to confirm with him exactly when at the weekend. If you're not sure who Jim Boardman is, Jim Boardman is a journalist with the Mirror in the UK. Also does some stuff at Anfield Index as well, another very good Liverpool channel. And shout out to Gags and Nina and all the crew over there. So yeah, looking forward to having him on. We're going to have Mark Goldbridge on as well before the season starts, and maybe one other nice little surprise that I'm working on as well. So look, gotta call it night, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the stream. If you don't do anything else, please do just drop a like on the stream and come over and have a chat with us on Flick Chat. I'm going to drop into Flick Chat in about 20 minutes or so if anybody wants to come. And on Flick Chat as well, everybody can form little groups as well if you want to talk about specific subjects. Just try the app. I'm telling you, you'll love it. Lots of love to all of you. Stay well, stay safe. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a weird one, but it's been a fun one tonight, and we'll probably be back to normal service tomorrow. Thank you very much, ladies.